I want to bring in Sally Quinn now, who is the founder of On Faith at the Washington Post, a blog that has become extremely, I must say, influential throughout the United States. It features, well, they take a question every week and debate it. They have scholars, they have theologians, they have just regular folks like me, and everybody weighs in on these things. Sally Quinn, longtime writer at the Washington Post, was the one who developed this. I want to ask you, Sally, has this Islamophobia, as people are now calling it, played a significant role in these recent controversial events like this debate over the Islamic Center being built near Ground Zero and this Florida pastor Terry Jones burn a Koran day? Is the country becoming anti-Islamic?
Bob, you know, this has been building up for the last 3 or 4 years. In fact, when I started On Faith, which was 3.5 years ago, the first thing I did was to have a conference on Islam at Georgetown University, because I saw this as a situation that was only going to get more and more fraught as time went on. And I think that, yes, I think it's coming to a head, and I think in some way that's good, because it brings up a discussion that we haven't had in a long time. One of the reasons I started On Faith is because I thought people just did not understand religion, and I don't think that you can be educated or informed in this country unless you understand religion, and I'm talking about all religions, not just Islam. Most people don't even know anything about their own religions, but one of the problems about Islam is that we haven't until now really known anything about it, so that when somebody talks about building a mosque at Ground Zero, there's this outcry, when in fact it's not a mosque, it's a community center. It's not at Ground Zero, it's 2.5 blocks away. The people who are building it are among the most pluralistic people I know, Daisy Khan and Iman Faisal, who have been on our panel for years, and he is totally involved in outreach with other faith communities, and what he wanted to do was to bring people together. But I don't think that anybody quite understands, and so it's become inflammatory. In fact, this was completely agreed upon by the City Council of New York. Nobody had a problem until Representative Peter King latched onto it, and then Sarah Palin and Newt Gingrich, is a political issue. And they have just been as probably more guilty than anybody of making this into an inflammatory issue. People don't even know what it's about. People don't even know what Islam is. Most people in this country haven't even met a Muslim. The idea that people would think that Obama is a Muslim means that they just don't understand what it is.
Where do you see this going, Sally?
Well, I think, you know, Pastor Jones is cashing in on I think Obama was right to sort of dismiss him in the press conference. You can't dismiss him in the sense that, you know, the Secretary of Defense had to call him, and the fact is that Americans all over the world could die if this one guy with 30 followers burns a Koran, because the images will be too potent. But I think that where this is going is that people are now going to start understanding, as President Obama said in his press conference, Muslims are part of this community. There are 8 million Muslims in this country, billions of Muslims all over the world who are peace-loving people. And we have a tiny group of terrorists and members of Al-Qaeda who are using this issue of the mosque at Ground Zero. They're loving this. This is a bonanza for Al-Qaeda, this whole issue about the mosque, because it's turning Muslims all over the world against America to think that Americans don't want a mosque in New York City close to Ground Zero, to think that Americans are fighting that, to think that Americans are burning Korans. So I think that I think rational people are looking at this and saying, whoa, wait a minute, you know, this anti-Muslim feeling, this Islamophobia, is only going to hurt us. It's going to get Americans killed. It's going to get American soldiers killed. As Obama said today, you know, this is going to put and Petraeus and Gates, this is going to put our military and Muslim countries in harm's way. So I think that it has been very eye-opening to a lot of people to say,
Yeah.
wait a minute, let's look at this, let's take another look at this and see how harmful this kind of Islamophobia could be to our country and the people, our own people.
Sally, what do you say to the relatives of those who died on 9/11 who find this insensitive and it's like just opening a wound to them? I think they have a legitimate point of view. How do you rationalize that, or what do you say to those people?
Well, I think that certainly to call them bigots is absolutely wrong, and that's totally insensitive. These people are grieving; they have a right to grieve. The mosque, the 9/11 is hallowed ground to most Americans. But I think what you want to say is that the reason that 9/11 happened, the reason we were attacked, is because our values were being attacked by people who don't hold the same values. And one of the most important values, as Obama said again today, is religious freedom. That's what this country was founded on. So I think that it's important to try to work with these people and to try to, and I know that people from the Cordoba House, Imam Faisal and Daisy Khan, have talked to them to try to help them to understand that actually having a Muslim community center near Ground Zero might be something that's part of a healing process. To have a place where people of all faiths can pray, and to actually to say to people, look, they can't take this away from us. They cannot take religious freedom away from us and the things that we value the most and we hold the most sacred.
Do you feel, though, that it might be a magnet for radicals who might see it, that it might become something that would actually attract radicals to that point, when in fact, I think everyone concedes that's not what it's designed for, but could it?
You know, they've had a lot of death threats, and I think that, they've got an enormous amount of support from the New York Police Department. And I don't think it would be, who are the people who are the radicals, who are the terrorists who are going to blow something up, would be the tiny group of Muslim terrorists, or maybe some wild-eyed terrorist of another faith, but I don't see that as a real threat, frankly.
All right. Well, Sally Quinn, thank you very much for a very interesting take on this today. We love having you on, and thank you for being here today.